Welcome back. It's July 4th. Doing this video again. In today's episode of my story, for those that don't know, my name is Lumi, aka Godson. And this YouTube page was basically created as a means of expressing myself on behalf of those that were silenced before me, those that are with me, and also those that are going to come after me. Today's video, I want to talk more about a topic that is very interesting. It's a very popular topic within the spiritual community. And it took me a while. So when I wanted to start this YouTube page, my soul had already highlighted the videos out. I written out the topics that I wanted to express myself through till the end of the first season. And so this particular topic of Kundalini, which is what I'm about to discuss, is 2 weeks behind. And maybe I was delaying it because I didn't want to talk about it, or I don't know. But the real reason why I'm hesitant about talking about it is because of where I'm at on my own journey with it. And where I'm at, again, this channel, besides those that I'm speaking for, what I'm trying to hold space to be actualized is peace. That is the path that I'm on, the peaceful part of nonviolence. I want to attain that within myself so that it will be reflected upon in my environment and in the world and in the universe. And there are many people that have paved this way for people like us. Gandhi, people like Gandhi have walked this path where they chose to stand for something without causing any harm, even though it was harmed at the end. And there's also a lot to go through for people that are on this path. And I'm very grateful that the little, I wouldn't say it's even little, to be honest. I shouldn't play down my experiences. But to the extent of what I'm going through or still going through and what I've been through, I still choose peace, regardless of what experiences I've had. So I'll start with what is Kundalini. Everything that I'm going to share about this topic is personal. It's not something called from a book. It's not something that I heard. It's not something that was shared. And I'm not a teacher, neither am I a student. I'm just the form of consciousness. So Kundalini is basically energy form that is placed underneath the spinal cord. It's coiled. Now it's being referred to as serpent coiled underneath the spinal cord simply because of its circular state at which the flame is being placed in. I want you to look at Kundalini like, how will I put it? Imagine you have a long rope, right? And that rope so long, but all that rope is, instead of having like strands or whatever material it is all just fire. And for it to be contained in the body, because of the length of it, it has to be constricted to be able to fit into the human body. So they call it a serpent because as it's circular, the head comes out. So it's kind of like a snake curled up with its head pointed out like that. So that's why you can get them giving it that ideology. But it's just a round circle of fire and then it pointing its head out, ready to fly up through the spinal cord. Now, another topic of Kundalini that we have is, can you wake it up? What can you do to wake it up? I personally don't think you can wake it up. I personally think it wakes up when it wants to wake up, when it is meant to wake up. I don't know. This is my own experience. I didn't try going to activate mine. I didn't even know what it was. I didn't even know any of the thing that of such had experienced or had happened. So I don't know. I just don't think it's possible to wake it up, because I say this only simply because of one thing. And that is because the intelligence that it has is way more than what you can ever phantom in your own reality, your third dimension reality. So if you are trying to find different ways, whatever way you are trying to find to hack into it, it's light years ahead of you with that intelligence. So if it's going to open because it's meant to open, not at the action that you are taking. This is my own what's it called? Let me adjust this a little bit. My own story. Now, the other thing is, what's the next thing that we can talk about? So the other thing is, why? Well, I personally believe that those that their Kundalini gets activated are souls that are here on planet expansion of consciousness within themselves. So, for example, I mentioned in my previous video that I incarnated in African culture, a very dense society, dogmatic. And so there were a lot of personalities that were built around my identity. And so because I have to move through all of those things within myself, Kundalini is a tool that is aiding in that experience, to burn through the past experiences that have been imprinted on my soul. Projections, impressions, karmic imprints, and all of that stuff. So there's the other aspect of it, that the evolution of the planet, I haven't seen much of that in my own personal experience. That some are saying the planet is expanding. Yes, this is true, it is. But everybody grows, right? Excuse me, let me put this one up. Everybody is growing, and yeah, growth is a permanent experience. Change is a permanent experience. So, is it good or bad? This is another question. And is this something people should be afraid of? Or what does it fall into in terms of religion? Or is it evil, as some people say? Or is it, blah, blah, blah. This thing I've noticed, if you have a matchbox, right? And you set the matches on fire in a house that is filled with gas, flammable gas, and it burns down the house. That's a bad use of a matches, right? A bad use of a matchbox. If you are camping and you're trapped out somewhere and it's cold and you happen to have matches with you and you use it to light up a fire to keep yourself warm, that's a good use of the fire. That's basically what Kundalini is. Kundalini is neutral, doesn't judge, doesn't take side. All it's just doing is burning what is not meant to be there and clearing the path out for purity to exist. Because what it's doing is it wants you to reflect, it's trying to reflect its own nature for you to be like it, which is just pure blissful energy, fire, burning through. So it doesn't, to me, it doesn't fall into evil, doesn't fall in, there's no good or bad. It's just fire burning up stuff. And so if you're going to really see it, it's actually something that is very great. Because it's helping you, it's coming as a tool to help you move through the impression. Okay, let's move on. You have dwelt on that too much. Another myth that I hear is about the powers that you attain from Kundalini and all of that, mystical powers and stuff, which some call siddhis. I personally don't think Kundalini gives you powers. I believe that those things that people call as powers, which are as gifts, are the soul's personal imprint in each life that it has accumulated as a result of its experience. And so when the soul is purified from that experience, the gifts manifest into the person's reality. And some might start thinking Kundalini gave me that. So for example, I gave one example, if you're a fashion designer in this life, and you finish this life and you die, and you incarnate into another life as a swimming lifeguard. As a fashion designer, you use your eyes to put in materials, fabrics, color, design, look. You work with people, you're able to put creativity in something so it manifests what you're thinking with your gifts. So your eyes must have been developed, the senses of the eyes, touch, in terms of how you create the materials and put it together. So now as you're the lifeguard, if that life that you lived as a fashion designer in your previous life, if you bring it along with you as something you want to resolve from that life, what Kundalini does is that it burns the impurity that was attached to that life. As it burns it, it now gives you the pure existence of that life that you had access to as a fashion designer without the problems that you had as a fashion designer because it had burnt it with the fire. So now you're basically enjoying the qualities of who you were then, which is someone with a good eye. So as you are swimming now, looking out for people, your eyes being in the current lifetime, you become sharper, you can see better, you can understand when somebody is about to drown, you can tell when somebody isn't able to swim, you can tell when somebody needs help. That's an example of how it manifests. Because when you look at it, the whole thing about the gift is simply your senses, the development of the senses. Because when the senses get developed as a soul, you're able to smell, and then smell what is not existing in the physical and understand that as information, because all the senses are just to process information. So as your soul begins to expand with the Kundalini, your DNA begins to expand. You are able to process information through all your clairs in a very clear-cut and precise manner, without any biases. Are there any dangers in Kundalini? I wouldn't lie, this is one of the reasons why I'm hesitant on my video. Is because I don't want any part of my videos to express itself to be seen or received as an object of fear. Especially because I mentioned again that the state at which I am in currently on my own journey, I'm still experiencing the up and the downs of the journey. My energy isn't stable enough yet. That's why I explained that I'm on a part of peace, but also I'm dealing with violence that I don't want to act violent towards. because I'm on the path of peace. So due to that challenges, which again brings into another topic, is what are the do's and don'ts of Kundalini, before I explain the dangerous part. The do's and the don'ts are simply the people that you surround yourself with, the environment that you surround yourself has an influence, or can have an influence if your energy isn't stable yet on you. If your energy is stable, then there's nothing that can shake it away. You're like a tree. You're like a 30,000-year-old tree planted. You're like a 30,000-year-old tree planted in it, rooted in its power and its soil. So once the beginning, when you're in the beginning stage, the early stage, you need to surround your environment. You need to surround yourself in an environment that reflects into what you want to become or what you would like to become. Because those environments, your senses will begin to process the information from your claircognizant gifts, which is processing information through your skin or your body. Like some people, they'll say they have a good experience of their awakening. I won't lie, mine has been intense. I mean intense. It has been many years of dark night of the soul, which some may refer to as depression, sadness, grief. All of this, I keep going back into there. For some reason, my energy keeps being pulled back. And this is what my soul is choosing to experience. So my own journey hasn't been la la land, hasn't been blissful, but has been insightful. And I'm alive. I'm grateful for the things that I've been able to perceive, especially where I'm coming from. Because I've seen that every experience or every opportunity that the experience gives me with is to learn more about myself, or learn more about what I wouldn't want to keep as identifying as. So is it dangerous? Depending on the scenario, depending on what you're doing, it can be dangerous in terms of that. It's not dangerous, it can be challenging. That's the right word to use. So for example, if you're doing habits that are not healthy for your body, abusing your body in any shape or form, things that you know that you don't like doing, that doesn't feel right within you, and you keep doing it while the energy is activated, you're definitely going to have challenges. Another thing that then we move on to the topic of what are the things to do if it is activated. I think to me what I've experienced is to keep the body very active and healthy. Some form of exercise is important to allow the chi to flow in the body, to allow your body to keep expressing itself so that the energy can freely move. Because the whole point of the energy, the whole point of Kundalini is for the fire at the bottom of the spine to travel from the bottom of the spine into the skull. That's what I believe it is for. And so between the distance of the tailbone and the cranium, that distance, right, there are several energy centers that are there that the fire burns through. Lifetimes of expressions, of lifetime of identity, of something that one has attached his or herself to. And these energy centers in Hinduism, I think they refer to them as chakras, which in some other beliefs may sound, what's the word they call it, New Age. But chakras, everybody has a chakra, I believe. I don't know everybody. But I believe these are all energy centers that are within each other, every one of us. If it's in your soul's alignment, you'll become aware of it. But it takes a very high level of sensitivity and level of work, self-development, to be able to get to that point where you can actually see and feel. And so those energy centers, they all represent different points in the human body and also the soul's evolution. So from the tailbone, where we have the root, move to the sacral part, and then to the yellow part where we have the yellow one, the manipura. These chakras have different expressions and representations. So one of the things that you hear in the spiritual community is that we are all one, right? Everyone, that we are all brothers and sisters. We're all made from the same, blah, blah, blah. Actually, these energy centers reflect that truth. And it goes beyond that we are all one as human beings, even as animals and plants. That information is rooted in those energy centers. I believe so, in terms of the soul. So I don't know what you are seeing in yours. You may be seeing something different. I don't know. Your soul might be more advanced. Your soul might be younger. All depends on the level at which the soul is at and what is destined for the soul to observe or understand or experience. So for example, you find that you see most images of the root chakra, you see elephant at the root chakra, which is basically a representation that elephant is the highest or is the last form, is the last form before you become a human being. It's the last form of animalistic behavior or animalistic form that you take on before you graduate to become a human being. And so that's why you still hear people saying that it's acting like an animal instinct. It's because many years of many lives of animals that we've taken upon ourselves are all stored in that place or could be burned through or processed in the root. So as you begin to move up also, you move to the sacral and then you move to the solar plexus, which is the stomach and above, and then the heart, and then the throat, and then the eyes, and then the crown. And so the fire passes through all of these centers and purifies it. And as it keeps purifying it, one is now attuned to within. And then that within is now reflecting without. So the depth of the purity and the refinement done by the fire within oneself. And you don't necessarily have to have Kundalini to do this refinement. It's just for those that have a lot to do here. The fire is as a tool to help them burn through some of those things. So the inner voice, the inner experience reflects onto the outer experience. So the more the fire burns through within, the more that you've allowed the fire to burn through, the more and clear understanding of yourself you will have. And then the more that replicates ripples out into the field of the collective. So this is why if you tune into the body, tune into the end of if you go deep down into the story, we are now moving beyond human beings, both white and black, red, gray, whatever you classify your race as. Animals, dog, wild, nomadic, whatever, plants, trees. If you tune deep into it, you will now find that we're all the same form of energetic expression. We are just taking different shapes of manifestation. So there are some again that you find on the chakras, you find petals and plants. Again, rose is the highest form of expression of a plant from what I've observed. After that, then I think you become an animal after becoming a rose. So this is why those that are experiencing this Kundalini, they have certain heightened smell, this pure smell. They smell like heaven. Those that have burned through they've purified their system today, they begin to give this odor and this smell. And the way this translates into common reality is when you meet someone that smells foul, that has body odor, those are toxins that are still being secreted from the body on a very lower phase, very denser phase. But when the person has done a lot of purification to the highest level, those toxins are purified, and what begins to come out of the body is like perfume. The person doesn't even need to use a perfume, just smells it. And one thing you should always know, anything created in this life started from a what's the word I'm looking for? It was inspired by nature. So the perfumery, the nice colognes that we smell is as a result of this inner smell. And there are depths to the levels of Kundalini. I personally, I don't know what it would look like for someone to have completed it. I can't even imagine what that person would look like. I can't imagine. Because if you have gone to that level, and I don't even know if it's possible to even complete it. Because I think when you complete it, that's what they say, you've completed the human's life cycle, and then you graduate to become an ascendant. Again, that's not my story. I don't know about that. But I know one thing. If you've reached a very deep level of that process, you can stop a nuclear bomb. I'm telling you, that's the amount of force and power that person has. If you've gone deep into your process of the Kundalini awakening and your energy is stable and you've moved into the higher levels of the chakras, the energy centers, you can stop a bomb. And how? I can explain. You see, as the fire begins to purify what's within the body, the cells and the cells of the person becomes purified, the DNA becomes activated, and the rate of which the person's energy is moving. Because if you look at it at the end of the day, if you put it down into a microscope, right? Excuse me. We are just cells moving in a haphazard manner, hitting each other together and liberating energy as a form of expression. So when the Kundalini has purified that energy and the cell to its fine spot, the energy becomes stable at ease. One is now at this peaceful state that you're basically, I can't even put it into words, which some will refer to as enlightenment or moksha or samadhi. You are at this point where there's no mind, you are not thinking because there's nothing, it's not that there's nothing to think about, you don't even have the ability to think. You cannot think. And so because of that, whatever you come across or whatever that comes across your field, your biofield of what you are expressing, if it's not a vibrational match with you, it would either rise to match with you positively or fall off. And that's why, again, one of the challenges is the environment you surround yourself with. This is how it affects the person if the energy is not stable. So if you fire a nuclear bomb or you are about to, with the thought to cause harm onto people or someone, but someone that the energy is stable and has reached a certain level of depth of the journey within oneself, that would spark an awakening in the person that wants to cause the harm or cause the person to fled because the person can't process or be around you anymore. But if the person is looking to grow and expand, the person can choose to easily ascend with your presence there And that's why you hear the words of guru is needed when the guru is around to help the energy rise. This is the idea behind all of that talk. This is the idea behind it. I hope with all what I've said that gives kind of a picture of what it is. And this is where I'm still at on my own phase, on my own journey. I can go deeper into it. But what's the time? It's 30 minutes already. It's a lot. I think I'll do another. Again, all my videos are going to be like this. They're all going to have part 1, part 2, based on where I'm at. Understood? Based on where I'm at on my own journey. So my next video about Kundalini, I'll talk more in depth of whatever that needs to arise. But it's very important. The final thing I can say is the tailbone to the navel, the stomach, represents what is called the lower aspect of the being. While from the stomach upwards, the heart, the throat, the eyes, and the crown represents the higher aspect of the being. So some will say it's the lower mind, the higher mind. I call it, if you are living below those 3, you are in hell. That's my perspective. And if you are living above those 3, you are in heaven. That's what I know as my own representation of what hell and heaven is. So I think in my next video, I'll talk about the dynamics and how it plays out in terms of power, relationships. Because I've talked about power and relationships, so now I'll bring it all back and connect it, how it manifests into reality. So thank you for watching, and like and subscribe, share with people that are interested in this type of information. And continue to pray that may peace continue to reign in this universe, in this planet, this country, in my being, in your being that is watching this. Amen. Thank you. Bye-bye.